Okay, guys, we are going to start. So I'm Victorian from GSX, so I'm the channel manager for the APAC region, and today I'm going to be your host. You are in mute, so if you have some questions, so feel free to write them on the chat section that is available on the WebEx. So I'm pleased to open the session by introducing GoIT. So GoIT is going to join us, our partner for the APAC region that are specialized in messaging. They are going to introduce themselves just after. So Gavin, who is the managing director, is going to speak about it, and there is as well Joe, who is based in Singapore, taking care of the region as well from a channel perspective and user account. So on GSX, I'm going to speak. I'm the channel manager again, taking care of the region from India to Australia. And we have Tosin, our pre-sales manager, who is going to introduce in a bit more technical perspective our solutions and the complementarity between GoIT solutions and GSX. So the agenda of today is first we are going to have a quick look at what GoIT is providing, then GSX, and after we are going to discuss about Exchange, hybrid, and cloud environments. What are the values of GSX in those environments? And Tosin will end with a short demonstration on the solution. Obviously, if you want to have more details, we can have a one-on-one demo to give you a more comprehensive approach of our solution. And the last part will be yours. So if you have any questions, any remarks, so feel free to fill the chat section, again available on the website. But let's start first with GoIT. So I'm going to let the speech to Gavin, who's going to speak a bit about GoIT. So Gavin, you can start to speak about GoIT. Gavin? So maybe Joe, if you want to take over.
Yeah, sure. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes. Yes, Joe. Okay. So just I will do the introduction. Maybe there is some sound issue. So GoIT are master resellers of different technologies, especially on the messaging and the cloud enablement. So they have their business model is to work mainly with partners that are going to distribute those solutions. They are working with solutions such as binary tree and GSX, so very complementary tools on the messaging approach, from the migration to the management of the infrastructure. So their main point of sale is really on the relationship they have with vendors since a lot of years, and they have this approach, and this is why as well we are fully trusting them. And it's a full approach from the sales force to the technical and support. So they are really not only friendly but very professional on their approach, and they are really going well as they are growing every month on the region, and their activity is increasing as well. So maybe yeah, Gavin.
Yeah, hi. So I'm muted and somebody muted me again. So yeah, so I can probably take over from there if you're okay. So we GoIT are master resellers of software solutions that are centered around messaging migration and cloud enablement. So we sell migration software from binary tree that pretty much do the heavy lifting from Exchange to Exchange and Exchange Online, and from Notes to Exchange and Exchange Online, and online being either Office 365 or other offerings from outsourced providers. So GSX is really a natural partner in that space, which is why we're partnering with them. So they're able to provide you with all the data you need pre, post, during and post migration. And we'll go into more of that information later. We're able to provide sales and support services throughout the region, from Sydney and from Joe in Singapore. I'll let Vic get on with telling you about his solution set. And Vic, if you want to take it from there.
Yes, sure. Thanks, Gavin. So anyway, if you want to have any other information, we will have the details of Gavin and Joe and Goethe in general in an email that's going to follow. But let's speak a bit about GSX now. So GSX, as some of you know, we are a 20-year-old company. So our headquarters is based in Switzerland, but we have now offices in APAC in Shanghai. We have offices in the US, in Boston, and in New York, in Buffalo, New York State, as well as in UK, France, and Switzerland, where the headquarters is. So our main approach is to work with the indirect channel. So initially, we were going to target customers in direct. Now, more and more, our business model is to work with channel. So we started to develop this channel from last year, and we are doing well since now we have a lot of partners. Our presence is increasing, and we have now 600 customers that are spread over 40 countries. So as you can see, most of our customers, there are Fortune 500, so 30% of them, split in the banking, the manufacturing, in consulting and IT services. Healthcare as well represents something important for us. And so the maintenance rate is very high for a software vendor, as we are. And so people are trusting us since a long time. So some of them are started to monitor their messaging servers since more than 20 years, and they're still keeping GSX on their shop. Especially since we have the trends of the messaging have evolved a lot from Domino to Exchange to the cloud. So we followed our customers accordingly, and we always develop our solution according to our customers and partner wishes. So today, GSX is monitoring different platforms. So IBM Collaboration Suite, from Domino, Traveler, Quicker, StemTime, and as well now Microsoft since like a couple of years, including Microsoft Exchange in versions, even the cloud. So Justin is going to speak about it. Microsoft SharePoint. So we are now in the latest version compliant with SharePoint 2K13. So very, very interesting for our customers and partners. And as well, we are launching our link monitoring tool in less than 1 month. BlackBerry as well is something very important on our business because BlackBerry are not supporting anymore their monitoring platform. So a lot of people comes to us to monitor the servers, and we have as well a very good monitoring tool. So our solution, our approach is that we are fully agentless. So no codes, no agents to be installed on the servers. So everything is done remotely. And so it means that the performance are not going to be affected. So this is something very important. And you don't need to rewrite all the scripts that you can have on the server because we are fully agentless and everything is out of the box. Second very good asset is that we are performing some end-to-end tests. So we are going to get information at the server level, but more importantly at the user level. The solution acts as a user, and we are able to tell you what is the user experience. So we are collecting our own statistics, our own metrics. So we are left by profile. So as soon as there is a degradation of the performance, we are able to alert you in order for you to take some proactive action. And the second part, which is very, very interesting, is as well the reporting. Most of the monitoring tools are lacking of reporting. So we developed and we invest a lot of time, resources on these ports in order to get a really, really good automatic reporting that can follow metrics on size, performance, usage, and other metrics, as well as to have an SLA management dashboard where you can identify your SLA, your KPI, and drill down to the pain points you might have on your environment. Something important as well is that we are aware that we are a really specialized tool working with large and big companies, and we need to be able to integrate to any other tools in your company. So if you have a ticketing tool, if you have another monitoring tool that takes care of the system or on the network, we are able to be integrated in those tools. So this is our recognition. So very interesting because we are now very close to Microsoft. Yeah, we have been awarded as the best monitoring tool on SharePoint and Exchange over the last 2 decades. We are BlackBerry Elite partner, and as well we got a 4-star award on the msexchange.org. Customers. So this is only a sample of customers. However, we have 600 customers, so from a very small company to very large. You can see HSBC, which is with Pricewaterhouse, one of the biggest customers we have, and because they are customer globally, such as Bayer, Porsche, and Michelin, which is a French company, Deutsche Bank, and as well different others you can speak about depending on your country. So I will let my colleague and friend Justin to take over. So I'll stop sharing and give the head to Sachin, who is going to speak a bit more about our solution. Yeah, English.
All right. Thank you, Vic, for the detailed slides. So what I'm going to do, first of all, thanks for joining all. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to present you, why are we moving to the cloud, why companies choose to move to the cloud, and why is migration never an easy process, and how GSX can help you ease this process, and how you can monitor your users while they are still migrating and you have some users still on-premise. So why do companies move to the cloud is mainly because of the lower cost of the infrastructure, because you don't have to invest every year and you don't have to make a budget every year to invest in the hardware. So it improves the flexibility, and you don't have to worry about the disaster recovery, so you don't have to set up a different site for disaster recovery, because when the outage happens, it's the service provider who is going to take care of it. So they would already have everything put together for the disaster recovery. So upgrades, you don't have to worry about the upgrade. That's why people move to the cloud as well, one of the big reasons, because you don't have to spend on the maintenance cost. So every time you don't have to plan an upgrade, shut down your server, do the upgrade. So all these things that can be taken care by the service provider who is providing you with the email services that you choose. So automatic scaling is one of the other criteria that people choose when they are moving to the cloud, because you don't have to keep on adding the hardware, as I said before. So there are the few reasons that why people still choose to move to the cloud, because the overhead they can get rid of by moving to the cloud. What is next is what are the challenges that we face when we do a migration. So we all know that migration is never an easy process, and it takes a lot of optimization, the cost optimization. You have to design your migration. You have to do it in a proper fashion way, so the user impacts are very less. So the focus area would be, how do I audit my current environment? So how can you audit? How can you see all of the mailboxes that you have, all of the infrastructure that you have right now, and you want to take it to the cloud? So you have to define the steps as well for the migration, so the users are not affected. And you always do the migration in a phase. So the phase one would include X number of users, where the X number of users would go to the cloud, and the certain numbers of users would still remain on-premise. How the other part is like the performance management. So how would be the performance of the users when they move to the cloud comparing to one day you have it on-premise? So these are all the aspects that you have to keep in mind every time you have to migrate. So of course, the migration is not an easy process. So that is why I came up to this slide to explain a bit on the migration. So how can you plan for a migration? So what do we do exactly when my company decided to move to the cloud, so how can I plan it? So migrating from your current messaging environment, that is the key point, because you are going to use an Exchange on-premise and then you move some users to the cloud. So how can you identify, if the performance would be what you want to have it as compared to the on-premise users that you have? So you need to identify the resources to migrate and eliminate the unused resources. So what I mean by that is identify the important mailboxes, for example, that you have to move to the cloud and not the orphan one. So this is one of the examples. Identify locations that may experience ISP, so you can have someone working in a remote location where you need to make sure that even if he has like a low internet bandwidth, he should at least access to his emails without any latencies. So you need to identify that as well for a successful migration. That of course all of your users won't work from the office. They would be on the road. They would be working from a remote location. So that is the key idea, to have a successful migration. So to iron out the network latency issues, so you can have a planned migration and you can deliver the user experience that you're expecting from the cloud. So monitoring the migration of test users, this is very important, because once you have your locations decided and what are the locations that the user would be migrating to the cloud, so you need to make sure you move some test users before you actually move the live users on the cloud and test how the performance would be of these test users before moving your production users to the cloud. So one of the key aspects is as well, how do you monitor the level of service being provided from the migration to Office 365 from your on-premise? So you don't have any tool right now that can give you a report kind of thing where you can actually compare what is the performance of my Office 365 or what is my performance of the online or on-premise Exchange user. So how do I know if I move my user today to Office 365 and he comes to me tomorrow saying that the performance has been degraded? So how would I know beforehand the user comes to me? So that is one of the key planning stage that you have to decide when you do a migration. Of course, you have to describe a scheduled step-by-step scheduled migration, because you cannot move all of the users at one go. So you need to define the stages of the migration before you actually move your whole environment to the cloud. So let's go to the next slide. How we can help. I mean, we talk about moving to the cloud. We talk about it saves cost, it saves the ROI and everything. But how can GSX help you to have a successful migration? So the key point what GSX does, it does the testing, it does the service level monitoring, as well as what it does all of the end user scenarios. So it acts as a robot user. So what it does, it would sit in your environment, do some tests on online Exchange 365 and tell you from your environment how long it takes to do that certain test. So end user scenarios is very, very important, because all of the other tools, what they do, they check the service availability. But being Office 365, you don't have access to the servers which are in cloud or which are in Microsoft data center. So how can you make sure that the users that you are moving are getting the service delivered that you have promised to them? So this is one of the best features of the GSX, where you can do end-to-end scenarios. So proactive monitoring, as I told, before the user comes to you, it's better that GSX alerts you, so you can take some proactive actions before actually it affects all of your infrastructure or affects all of your users. So we do some automatic reporting as well on the SLA, on the KPIs, and what are the performance metrics that you are being delivered to the users. So that is one key point as well. So proactive monitoring, as I already spoke about it, some reporting, and then you have automatic reportings as well. And how it works, like it would keep on doing a stress testing. So for example, if you're moving to the cloud, okay, you plan your first day to move to the cloud with a test user. So what you can do, you can have GSX installed on a VM or on a laptop, and then you can act as a user with GSX, and GSX would do automatic tests on Office 365 and tell you, how long it takes to do all those tests. So I'll show you on the demo part how it works. But this is, how we can help on a successful migration when you're moving from on-premise to Office 365. So the next idea would be once you have moved, okay, how do you know the migration was successful and it was seamless? So, the only way you can judge that by is, if your end users are satisfied, and the number of calls that you received on your help desk. So maybe after you move to the Office 365, the number of calls have increased on the help desk line, or maybe the number of calls have been decreased on the help desk line. So these are some of the important factors that you take into consideration when you are already moved to the Office 365. So how can you track the number of users moved, and how can you track the performance of the users, and planning the budget, and as we talked about the migration schedule, that is one important feature as well. So you don't want to get over with the date that you have decided that all of your users would be migrated. So how GSX can help is like, the performance of the cloud from GSX. It does end-to-end tests, so you would know that I would stay on my schedule and I don't have to wait for my users to come to me and tell me that, oh, okay, this is not working. I mean, the performance is degraded after I move to Office 365. So these are some of the important steps that I would say after you migrate to Office 365. So GSX as well, helps you answer all your IT needs. So what I mean by that is like, if you choose like full cloud or hybrid, like many of our customers are still on hybrid because they don't move all of the users on Office 365. So GSX can monitor hybrid, your Exchange online or your Exchange on-premise. All of these environments are monitored by a single dashboard of GSX. So, you don't need any specific skills like in Microsoft SCOM you do to run reports, to run the PowerShell script. So what it is, it's like an out-of-the-box solution. You install it in 2 hours and it's up and running, and you perform all these tests. It works on the system level as well. So it would, of course, if you're monitoring your on-premise Exchange environment, it would do the system level test, like checking all the services. But on top of that, what it does is the end user scenarios. So the business line continuity, that is the most important part of all of the slides we have talked, because you cannot afford to have a downtime where your users sit when you move to Office 365 and once the migration is completed they can access it, or even after the migration they are not able to access, because you don't know how would be the performance from your infrastructure if a user is connecting to an Office 365 or from a remote location or from some other office where you don't have access to. So that is some of the points that I wanted to discuss, and how GSX can answer all of the needs. And then of course there is increased return on investment that you do, and we don't have any hidden costs, and it's so easy plug and play that you can install it on a VM or a laptop. And since Vic already told you that it's agentless, so we don't install any codes on the server, so it doesn't depend on the agents that would sit on the server and wait for the feed to be sent to the GSX. So how it does the test, it does the background test on the PowerShell and the WinRM protocol that we use to do the agentless-based test. So GSX being the one of the best tools in the market right now, what it does, because we are I would say, the first ones to do a hybrid and Office 365. What I call is the monitoring. So what it does, it controls the visibility of your cloud. So it can manage, as I already said, any version of the Exchange, like Exchange 2007, 2010, 2K13, and even the hybrid environments. And it supports different versions as well during the migration. So if you have on-premise on 2010 and you are moving to cloud, so it can support that kind of a scenario as well. So easy to install. We already talked about this. Ensures the end user satisfaction. Does some real end-based end user scenarios that we already talked about. It's monitoring out of the box, so it comes bundled with the Analyzer tool, which is out of the box tool for monitoring. So you just need to have configure one-time reports and it would automatically come to you. So you can control the growth of your data because it does some forecasting as well on your environment. So once you have GSX up and running, in few days you would know the trend, how would be my disks if you are using an on-premise. If you're using GSX to monitor on-premise, so how would be my disks in next 3 months or 6 months and so on. So also what it the beauty of the product is you can install GSX Monitor into different locations, and it reports to one reporting tool. So how it works, you can have a performance comparison in different locations, like one in Australia or one in Asia, and then you can compare the performance that you deliver to the users. So that's about the slides. Let's go back and look at the demo, and I will show you the monitoring part of the tool and the analyzer part, and then we will continue with the session.
Yeah, then we will have the question and question, so we can move forward with the demonstration of the solution.
So this is how the tool looks. So this is an Exchange Office 365 setup that I have on my laptop here. So what I wanted to present is, you can see that on the left-hand side there are different organizations. So what I mean by organization, you can have a small hybrid organization where it already monitors your mailbox server, your cache and hub, whereas it does all the scenarios that we have been talking about in the slide that I will show you in some time. So what it does on Office 365, it does all of these scenarios. For example, mail routing. So let me quickly take you to the mail routing scenario and explain you how it works. So what would the mail routing scenario do? You can send a mail routing probe from your organization to an echo service where you can get an auto response, or to a Gmail account, or to Outlook.com using Exchange Web Services, your Exchange Online, your EWS address, using the email address and password, and then you can connect and send a mail probe to Echo to the Echo service or any other third-party service that you use, and it will tell you how long it takes to connect to that service and send an email out. So this is very good test because you can use SMTP protocol. You can use an SMTP protocol, and then you can send it to Office 365 or any version of Exchange as you can see it. And you can see how long it takes to get the mail routed out of your organization. So this is a very important test that we do, because most of the times you won't know that your mail routing is affected or until unless a user comes to you. So how it works is, we have defined a cycle. So you can have a 30-minute, 1-hour cycle whenever you define it. So every 1 hour, GSX would send one probe. It would, these are the different type of alerts that I will go later on. So every 1 hour maybe that you define, GSX would send a probe to Exchange Web Services or any other service that you define over here, and it would tell you how long it takes to deliver that mail. So you can see that some of the tests that we have been doing, so you can have the report over here on the right-hand side, like daily, weekly, monthly. What was the average routing time? What was the max routing time? What was the failures? And what was the number of success that you were able to send? So this is a very important test that we do, because you can create a hop between your SMTP or Exchange Web Services or a third-party gateway that you want to test the mail routing. So this is on the Office 365 side. What we do on the Office 365 as well are the custom scenarios that we do. So you can have all of the scenarios that I'm going to show you just now. So you can have an Office 365 custom scenario where it would actually use an account. It would go to Office 365 URL. It would open a mailbox. It would search for an item, resolve a user, download an attachment, create an email, create a folder, create the task, and create a meeting. And it will tell you how long does it take to do all of these actions. So this is very important, because on Office 365 you don't have any control on the server. So what it does is, like, how do you gauge the performance of the users? You migrated X number of users on Office 365, and you want to gauge the performance. So before migration, you put GSX on a laptop or a VM. You have a test user created on Office 365. You do all of this test, and you can know that, okay, what is the response time that I'm getting from if I go migrate my user, X number of users to Office 365. So you can expect this time that it would take that to connect to Office 365 and perform all these user actions. So this is an important test that we do, and it all reports back to the reporting tool. So you can have automatic reports based on the location. So if you have GSX Monitor in New York and one location in Australia, so how you can compare is, you can have test users created in Australia and a test user created in New York, and then they can do all of these tests that you define here, the custom test, and then you can compare the performance of these tests. So as you can see, we can define any version of Exchange. So you can use Exchange 2013, 2010, Exchange Online, and you can do all of the scenarios. So if you don't want to perform any custom scenario, you can just delete it. If you just, so these are the real base tests. When a user comes online in the morning, he first of all, he would open Outlook and he would try to send an email. He would try to resolve a user or maybe download an attachment. So before a user comes to you and say, okay, it's taking like, maybe more than 10 minutes to download an attachment or opening in my mailbox. So before the user comes to you and say this, you already have an alert from GSX where it would automatically send you an alert if it crosses the threshold that you define over here. So you can define the threshold like we have defined it over here. So if it crosses that threshold, it would alert you. So on alerts, we do a very good job on the alerting. So what we do, you can have different profiles on the alerting, and then you can send it to an email address, to a pager. You can run some auto program as well, like a PowerShell script if it's Exchange on-premise. And then you can have some system sounds if someone is monitoring right on the station, so he can have a system sound. We can also send all of the SNMP traps to SCOM or to HP Tivoli or any Nagios, SolarWinds, any other tool that you have already in place. So you don't have to come back to GSX and look for the alerts. It can be centralized on your system that you are already using. You can have severity of the alerts. You can have reminders. If someone is not taking care within 15 minutes, you can have a reminder. So this is about the alerting that I wanted to show you. So I kept talking about all of the scenarios. So one thing that I wanted to highlight over here, it's pretty simple, that we kept talking is plug and play. So how do you monitor your Exchange Online or a on-premise hybrid environment? So you put all of the details like the Exchange FQDN, you put the domain name, username. On Office 365, it would be the EWS address and just the email address and the password. You do a test connection, it would automatically discover all of your servers if it's on-premise. And in Exchange Office 365, you can run all of these custom scenarios, and then you can have a report of all of this. What we do is also you can ping some URL. So how would you know if a user comes to you and say, okay, my Office 365 is very slow today and I cannot access my mailbox? So how would you know that it's actually your network or if it's actually the service provided by Microsoft? So what we do, we create some ping test to the URLs, and we tell you how long it takes from your infrastructure to ping this website. So you can drill down on the network latency. So suppose, on your environment, you take X number of seconds to reach Office 365, and on one given day, you take like 10 minutes or 15 minutes to reach Office 365. So you can drill down, okay, whether it's my network or whether these are the scenarios that I'm running. So suppose if all of the scenarios would fail, it would be maybe because of the network was congested, or you have to improve your bandwidth to provide the service that you want to deliver to the users. So this is about the demo, but we can do a comprehensive demo if you want, like a one-on-one demo, but I wanted to show you the tool, how it looks like. So what we do about the analyzer, so this is the analyzer tool that we have. So what GSX does, it collects all of your data from your GSX monitor, and it sends back to the analyzer tool that we have over here. So you can see there are the different Exchange scenarios that we have. And it would tell you, okay, this is my station in Australia, this is my station in New York, and what is the performance of this station, when it compares to Office 365. You can have your availability history of your server. So this is the first page that the analyzer loads up. So you can have top 10 alerts over here, and then you can have different alerts, where you can actually export all of these alerts to a PDF to do some audit purpose. So if you want to go back in time and you want to check what happened to my server on that day and what was the steps that a system administrator took, so you can export all of these alerts to a PDF. What we do is you can have some statistics. So you can have statistics either on your server or either on the Exchange database or the Exchange scenarios, that you are running in your organization. So this is a typical example of a hybrid where you would have some users on Office 365 and some users on-premise. So what you can do, you can have all of the report. It would tell you what was the report date, if there was a downtime with the scenario that you are running, or what was the scenario URL. If you are running a URL test, what was the access time of that URL. So you can go back in time. it automatically creates this report, so you can go back in time and check for it, and of course you can export it to a PDF or a CSV as well. The next good part of the reporting tool is, so this comes already out of the box, so we just have to configure it for the one time the reporting and it would automatically come. So I kept talking about all of the scenarios, but I didn't show you how to compare it. So this is where we actually do the comparison of the tool, of your different locations. So you can see that the scenario uptime on this one on 21st May was this, 22nd May it was this. So you can have a graph over here, and you can also do some forecasting that if my scenario uptime is like this, how would it be in next 3 months or 6 months. So this report can automatically come to a PDF, or you can upload it to an FTP as well. The environmental health report is very good in terms if you want to know the SLA that has been delivered and you want to drill down on the pain points of your server. So what it does, you can have different stations. This is an example of an Office 365, so you can have different stations and then you have all of your scenarios. So you can see what are the scenarios that you're doing on these stations and how are they performing. So you can see these scenarios on this station is performing very low. So what could be the reason? You can drill down onto the reason. Maybe the scenario uptime because of the network congestion was down. So that is why it's performing very low. Or maybe your network was fine, but the Exchange portal that you connect to, the service provided from Microsoft, that was not been delivered 100% as they say. So this is kind of the reporting tool, and you get all of the report automatically in your inbox, as I said before. So we do more on the Exchange as well, but I won't go into that because we are short of time. But yeah, we can have a comprehensive demo, like a one-on-one demo, where we can actually show you what it can do on the reporting, because a lot of tools lack reporting, and this is one of the best assets of GSX, where it can do automatic reporting based on the time you specify, and it can go back in history as well to take out some reporting that you can present it to the management. So I guess that pretty much we covered everything on the tool, but we can of course have a one-on-one demo if you're interested. So I would have Vic take over and take us to the question answer session.
Thanks, Justin. Thanks for this. So yeah, very good demo on both monitoring and reporting tools. So keep in mind that as well we are monitoring on-premise Exchange, as well as SharePoint, and everything related to Domino, because I can see there are some Domino administrators as well in the call. So let's move now to the questions. So there are a couple of questions from our attendees. So first of all, how do you integrate GSX with SCOM? So I think I can handle this one. So we have actually a management pack for SCOM, and you can centralize all our listing system into a central dashboard. So it's very convenient because you have not only the critical, but as well you have the warning for that. So just not that bad. And this works through SNMP tracks. And SCOM is going to consolidate the statistics directly in its own database. Okay. Another question is how GSX Analyzer is licensed. I guess I will take over on this one as well. So GSX Analyzer actually works with GSX Monitor. So it makes a lot of sense to have similarly to the monitoring or reporting tool that's really linked. So it's when you buy a license for GSX Monitor, you have by default GSX Analyzer. Just to give you a couple of ideas of the price, it's of the license model. Sorry, on SharePoint it's per front-end and app servers. On Exchange, on-premise it's per users, per mailboxes, and Exchange Online you need to pay the stations. Okay. And after, so every station costs about $1,500, and after you pay a user client access license. Sorry. And then, so when you check the web services, is there any impact on the servers? So for this, I will let Tassim answer the question.
Yeah, thanks, Vic. So the impact on the server is very minimal that we do, because what it does, it uses that web services link, and you can define a threshold. So, in a typical real life example, I would say we won't go ahead and do check on the web services every 1 minute, because that won't make sense. So what can we do? We can have a small interval of like 5 minutes, and every 5 minutes GSX would check that take that web service link and connect to it, and tell you how long it takes to perform all of the user actions that we talked about. I guess that would answer the question.
Yes, exactly. So I have another question from our attendee. Is the GSX only for application monitoring? Is the GSX have the migration tool outside the app monitoring? So yes, actually GSX is only for performance monitoring and the application SharePoint Exchange, Domino, and we are working with binary tool to and GoIT for the migration. Okay, so GSX will come before the migration, during and after the migration. So by baselining your environment, identifying some orphan mailboxes, etc., etc. What is the data you don't need to migrate, and what is the data you need to migrate. This is how it works, and then we are able to monitor the end user performance from both sides. So from the initial environment and from the environment you are migrating to make sure that the performance of the users are not affected after the migration. And if there are some pain points, GSX is going to pinpoint them. Yeah. So I hope it answers your question. Another question is what needs to be enabled on Action Online in order for the scenario to be executed? So I will get on now. So actually, there is nothing specific required by GSX, because first we cannot have access to the servers, which is by default the cloud. So what we need is to have a user account with a mailbox created on the Action Online environment, and only a URL to access the service. Typically, it can be https://outlook.office365.com for all the Microsoft Action Online accounts. So yeah, it used the Action Web Services technology. So we cannot do PowerShell as we do for Action on-premise. We have another question. Which is, can GSX Monitor and Analyzer be installed on a Windows Azure machine? Yeah, I'll take this one as well. This is a fully working scenario actually. However, there might be some extra configuration to be done for the monitoring on-premise organization, like for example the cross-premise virtual network or the NAT, and for cloud monitoring to be totally transparent. So the last one is, can GSX be available to be used as a service, like from the cloud? I guess, Tosin, I will let this one to you, as you have some experience on this with some.
Yeah, so the question is if GSX Monitor and Analyzer can be used as a service. The answer would be yes. So how we license is like we can have a SaaS licensing model via our partners. So GSX can run under a subscription model where you would have GSX as a service, but under subscription. So you pay for the subscription fees and you can have it licensed. I guess that would answer the question.
We have a lot of cases like this. Another question that comes up is the GSX using agents that needs to be installed on each server to do monitoring? Actually not. This is the good thing about GSX. This is why we are so successful over the past, and this is why we are going to be one of the best solutions on the market again for the cloud, because we do not need any agents to be installed on the servers. So on Domino we are using not API to connect to the servers, and on Exchange we are using PowerShell. So we are installed outside the servers on a VM, for example, and then we perform some tests to target the server. So this is for an on-premise organization for sure. So no need to have agents on the servers. So different advantages thanks to this. First, so no drop on the performances. So it means that there is no way GSX is going to crash the servers. As well, when you are going to upgrade or to patch your servers, usually when you have agents, you need to adapt it to the new environment. Where GSX automatically is doing the job automatically, so you save a lot of time, a lot of pain as well. So these are the good advantages. So this is a magical trick that we have. And this is why as well we can claim that we are able to perform some end-to-end tests. Because when you are dealing with COM, for example, which we are complementary with, or HP 8.2 or whatever, you are going to install agents. So you are going to rely on the statistics that the agent will retrieve. But what if like everything is green? Okay, the server is up, so it's responsive. Okay, but what about the response time from the user? So this is why we are successful, and this is why it makes a lot of sense to have GSX, is to understand the user complaints. Okay, before they are going to the help desk saying, okay, I am experiencing some latencies. Okay, so GSX will tell you before this. So we are proactive. We're able to catch the user experience, and there is no way we are going to crash or to have some drop on the performance on the servers because of GSX. I cannot see any other questions. So guys, thanks a lot for your time. Thanks a lot for this. Again, we are at your disposal for a one-on-one demo. The best thing to do, and it's because as well we don't have any agents, is that you can install the solution in 1 hour. Obviously, we are going to do the job with you. We are really caring about people trying to test our solution, and even if you are not moving forward, we are always happy to get your feedback, because again, we are developing our solutions and evolving our solution according to people needs, people wishes, partner, customers, prospects. Everyone is very welcome to do that feedback. So yeah, we will take contact with you, or you can take contact with us anytime, and we'll be happy to move forward. Thanks a lot for your time, David and Joe, our partner. Really appreciate it. So again, we have a bundle offer for GSX and binary tree, so feel free to approach us for this. Binary tree is certainly the best migration tool on the market, and the ability is very good as well in different parts and regions of the world. So feel free to contact us in case of a project of migration. And again, we monitor Exchange, but as well SharePoint, but as well Link, but as well IBM environment. So thanks very much. Have a nice day ahead, and take care. Be proactive and monitor.
Yeah,
bye, guys.
Rick. Yes, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.